Welcome to our presentation of The Future of Educational Technology, prepared by Nicole Black, Aaron DeWitt, Ruben Risco, and Ashley Waldron. Technology is constantly being created, adapted, and rendered obsolete. Its effects are no more felt than in our country's educational system. According to the United States Department of Labor, 65% of today's students will be in jobs that haven't been invented yet. Eventually, teachers will no longer be the experts, but the facilitators of knowledge. Our group will address the question: how will technology in the year 2034 be integrated effectively into student learning in the middle school educational setting? We want to introduce the diagram that guided us in our approach to the aforementioned question. It helps give a framework to how future technology will be categorized. This presentation will address opening of information, gamification, virtual and physical studios, tangible computing, and disintermediation. We have already begun to see evidence of digitized classrooms in middle school classrooms, as students and teachers are using interactive whiteboards, projectors, and tablets as seamless parts of the learning process. Opening of information. In the short time since the internet became publicly available, we have gone from a world where knowledge was kept in expensive printed volumes into one where anyone with an internet connection can easily access thousands of pages of information. Instead of waiting for a book publisher to release a new edition, information can be updated immediately. Rather than calling a local repairman, we can look up a how-to video or visit a do-it-yourself website and chat with an expert in real time. If we were to jump 20 years into the future, this trend will surely continue, with even more people choosing to self-educate amidst an ever-growing and accessible source of open information. A MOOC, or Massive Open Online Course, is built upon the belief that learning should be available to all who seek it. While distance learning has been around for quite some time, MOOCs champion actual interactions between facilitators and participants. Companies such as Udacity, Coursera, and edX already offer MOOCs that are free and open to anyone with an interest. As we continue into the future, learning that is valuable anytime, anywhere for free will surely gain momentum. Middle school students of the future may only attend a partial day in an actual building, while dedicating the remainder of the day to self-directed learning facilitated through MOOCs. The days of choosing an elective from a finite list will vanish, as even students as young as middle schoolers will be able to choose to study the Italian language, music composition, or industrial architecture. Digitation of books will continue, thus classrooms will become paperless. We will see textbooks and other learning materials even more available for all students. Students will create group projects together using cloud-based programs that allow real-time collaboration, editing, and peer input. All exams and writing assignments will be completed, submitted, graded, and stored electronically. Students will keep work in an electronic cloud-based portfolio that will follow the students throughout his or her entire educational experience. Teachers will store evidence of job performances and professional learning in e-portfolios as well. Gamification. Electronic gaming is popular today. According to a 2013 report by the Entertainment Software Association, 58% of Americans play video games that brought in about $20.7 billion to the industry in 2012. Gamification is the process of adding games or game-like elements to something such as a task so as to encourage participation. These game elements, typically in the form of computer software, includes but are not limited to points, badges, leaderboards, quests, levels, rewards, and avatars. Gamification is not a game in and of itself, but aims to motivate certain behaviors. Many different types of institutions and entities use gamification. Businesses such as Coca-Cola, IBM, and Volkswagen use gamification to attract consumers. 50 U.S. government organizations, including the Army, Navy, and Air Force, use gamification for citizens' input. The education world has also been affected. Gamification has begun to spur more interest as schools look for ways to adapt to a more technological world. In the future, students will encounter different technologies, concerning both hardware and software, in their interaction with school gamification. The hardware that students will use are foldable tablets, cell phones, and/or interactive walls and floors. Yet, perhaps more important is the software that accompany each different type of hardware. Whether through the use of apps on tablets or cell phones, e-textbooks that have become even more interactive, and/or school websites that allow administrators to track student learning and interaction, all affected will be able to constantly and consistently be able to monitor themselves and others through these different softwares. Gamification for middle school students will be used both in the classrooms and at home. As mentioned before, gamification uses incentives, rewards, missions, social rewards, multiple point systems, levels, and real-time notifications. In the classroom, through instructional activities, Students will be able to move through levels as they successfully read their textbooks and answer questions. In assessments, students will be able to monitor their class rank through leaderboards. At home, students can earn badges with each successful completion of homework. Also, students extend learning by accepting missions that target different learning objectives, what they've completed, and where their learning objectives will take them. Gamification is the process by which to give incentives to learn by using the learn by failure technique that is popular in game-like environments. As is just as important, gamification in the middle schools will also allow students to be prepared for their technological 21st century world. Gamification will not only be seen as an educational tool, but will be the way how we interact with all aspects of our future lives: shopping, cooking, medical visits, etc. Virtual physical studios. Holographic technology will assist teachers and students in various learning experiences across the globe, such as the ability to communicate with people in every country, learning from real scientists while performing lab experiments, and being able to project images into holographic form to get a 3D view. Students can take field trips wherever they wish to go, including historical periods. Holograms will greatly enhance the educational experience in the future for both students and teachers. Next up is Google Glass. Although expensive now, it is viewed as a possible tool for educators to use in teaching their students. For example, introverted students can text a question to the teacher during a lecture. The question will appear in front of the teacher's glass, which will allow them to address the question without having to put the student on the spot. Because it is already being sampled for use in the workforce, it is being pushed to be used in the classroom. Teachers can create a first-person video guide attached to resources for students to access as they need to, and teachers can open up a Hangout to have students participate to lectures in remote locations. Teachers can teach more effectively and provide their students with more opportunities for learning. Tangible computing. With touchscreen desks, the world is your oyster. Students can learn anything they want at any time. Students will be able to work collaboratively in groups, each one manipulating the screen at the same time as their peers do to multi-sensory touch. The desks also produce holograms and can be controlled by voice commands. Worried that the students have too much access, fortunately the teacher has complete control over all the desks. The teacher can view from the exodesk everything happening in their classroom and can correct or control what content appears on student desks. Teachers must proactively monitor students at all times when they are using the exodesks. Thus far, the UK and Panama have had high success with the exodesks. Disintermediation. Envision a future different from the teacher-student model. The new setting will allow students to learn and collaborate through an educational setting incorporated technological advances such as virtual studios, artificial intelligence to individualized learning, rich and rapid feedback on assessments, and the opportunity for students to design their own technologies. These ideas are all components of disintermediation. In this new future world, teachers will have the responsibility for creating teaching strategies. Technology will be the main tool for personalized or individualized learning. Students may collaborate through a peer environment on open courseware, and the material will be created by the most highly innovative individuals specialized in their subject area. Classrooms will be directed while advancing technologies matched to the students' talents. This environment will allow for optimized individual learning and outcome to standards. Disintermediation comes into play by eliminating the middleman, using the technology rather than the physical teacher instruction each day. All concepts noted throughout the presentation fall into this realm. Mobile learning platforms provide students the ability to access the learning content from many mobile devices. This allows for freedom of movement while the student continues to learn. This is important, especially for continuing education or non-traditional students who may have careers and/or families that require most of their time during the scheduled class time. S2S teaching platforms where a facilitator monitors learning of a group using an online component has many positives to offer. This platform allows for students to work at their own pace and complete assignments from comfortably online. Students with disabilities might find this educational option valuable as they do not need to attend a class session away from home. Telepresence is a valuable tool for the future of education. One teacher being broadcast into several classrooms simultaneously increases the amount of students who can benefit from the learning at one time. Using technology to increase the effectiveness of learning is on the rise. Implementing technologies such as mobile learning platforms, S2S platforms, and telepresence can increase the ability for some students to be successful. Hosting a class of several students in various locations with just one teacher can also become more cost-effective for some school districts. School districts could reduce personnel costs by converting to technology, such as telepresence. Costs will decrease for items such as textbooks, employee salaries and benefits, and training costs for teachers. While a human presence cannot be replaced as an instructor, implementing some of these technological ideas can allow more students to be part of the learning process. It is also helpful to foster global relationships and an exchange of worldly perspectives. This type of learning can be very helpful with students who wish to learn a second language, as they could experience the language through immersion. This is a great development in education. When others can share what they know, it can benefit everyone, and when the group of students is larger due to technology, it exponentially grows and touches more people. The ISTE standards. We propose that while the core focus area of the ISTE standards will remain the same, there will need to be adjustments to the subpoints as technologies and digital learning becomes more of a daily reality. For students, basic technology operations will need to be incorporated much earlier into the educational process. Students in kindergarten will need to learn how to use keyboard-style input and digital tools to write and draw. Students will use technology to communicate and collaborate from the moment they enter the education system. Digital citizenship will be very important. As technology becomes more sophisticated and attuned to human behavior, it is important that standards are in place that will guide students to act responsibly and morally with their technologies. Teachers of the future must be committed to keeping up with the fast pace of technological changes through lifelong learning and professional development opportunities. For teachers will need to be future teachers will need to be able to create, interact, and integrate various technologies and must have a basic understanding of all operating systems, programs, and technologies that the student of the future will interact with on a daily basis. Finally, administrators will continue to work to hire and retain a staff that is committed to lifelong learning and to becoming efficient themselves in facilitating digital learning experiences. Regarding professional development, teachers will need to be proficient with the fast pace of technological innovations. Professional development must be focused on training about new technology and ensure that the usage of technology to facilitate instruction, especially as traditional methods of teaching begin to disappear. As a result, professional development will be even more time-consuming in the future, so it is important that administrators plan accordingly. When it comes to ethics, different issues will arise. Teachers will need to monitor student use. Computer hacking into curriculum and student data will become problematic, as well as incidences of plagiarism and cyberbullying. Some worry that the simulations and virtual learning experience may become too real, and that interaction with sophisticated artificial intelligence may take away from physical human interaction. Additionally, some worry that with the increased emphasis on technology, the digital divide and learning gaps may grow farther apart. Finally, when we consider equity, funding may vary, creating situations of resource inadequacies. Any student who does not have access to technology off campus will be at a disadvantage, particularly if their parents are digitally illiterate and unable to help. Technologies will need to be equitable and usable by all types of students with varying different physical and mental disabilities. Finally, there may be situations where cultural differences cause some parents and students to reject technology, thus limiting access. The school leader's role will be crucial as always. Future school leaders need to hire and retain a teaching faculty that is knowledgeable, dedicated, and proficient in their teaching and technology use. The school leader needs to manage funding to maintain equal and equitable access to updated technology and adequate infrastructure needed for student learning. It is vital that the school leader maintain a highly trained technical support staff of technological systems. The leader also needs to manage physical and virtual school schedules that may vary as students move from physical schools to virtual schools online at home and vice versa. The school leader will need to foster and maintain constant communication with parents about technology, use, care, and access. And last, school leaders must themselves continually grow in technology education to keep pace with evolving technology and its accompanying laws and guidelines. To close, we pose the question: will the future of middle school education resemble the predictions made in this presentation? One thing is certain: as technology becomes a more prominent part of our daily lives, it will surely become a more prominent part of our educational system.